just a question about the engine.
Oh yeah, I was asking about the same thing. Yeah.
You told us that you guys used the Red engine on Cyberpunk, that you guys improved it a lot for the Cyberpunk, but now we know that CD Projekt Red will use the Unreal for the next project.
Correct.
How it was this decision internally for you guys that work as such a long time on the Red engine, and how it is to you to change the engine like that?
Yeah, I mean, great question. So one thing about me, I'm a very technical like designer and director, so I like sitting with the engine, implementing stuff myself. So when we are making decision like this, like big decision of that scope, there's always the R&D at first, evaluation, let's say, and we are always checking, what are the strong sides of the given engine, what are the weak sides, and we evaluated everything very carefully, to conclude that for our goals and for our games, it seems to be a best decision to switch to Unreal 5 at the time. I worked on all kinds of engines in my career. Before CD Projekt Red, on multiple different engines, and then here and Red Engine 2, 3, 4, for the games. And now I'm working on the on Unreal 5, with our tool set. And one thing that I really like, but it's hard, it's difficult, is the fact that Red Engine 2 was built on the improvements of Aurora Engine. I don't know if you remember that, but Aurora Engine is the engine that BioWare was using long time ago, that we bought licensed for Witcher 1. And then around 80% of that engine has been rewritten, and it was called Genie at the end. So Genie was basically rewritten Aurora, and that was Witcher 1. So that is an example of taking an engine and rewriting. Then from there, we actually went into Witcher 2, when it was Red Engine 1, actually, that we wrote completely new engine based on what we learned on Aurora, shipped Witcher 2 on it, and then for the enhanced edition, we had to rewrite the engine in a major way for an enhanced edition of Witcher 2, and then that was Red Engine 2. And that Red Engine was built based on Red Engine 1. So then when we were working on Red Engine 3 for Witcher 3, it was the same thing. We basically took everything that worked and built it based on that. So every single time we ended up changing engine, it was all the time, because a lot of players think that Red Engine 4 is the same as Red Engine 1. It's not. It's not. Red Engine 4, that's a major rework of Red Engine 3. There are some minor parts that are the same and have been moved. At this point, and again, Witcher 3 versus Cyberpunk, right, with path tracing and all of those things, you can see that it's just, the Witcher 3 engine couldn't do it, at this point. So those engines have been rewritten in a major way. So there was a lot of learning, involved when we've been switching from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, and now with the switch to Unreal 5, is the same situation. We are taking everything that we learned on Red Engine 4 now and moving it, to Unreal 5. And by moving, I mean rewriting a lot of things, making them specifically for Unreal. To be sure that we just do it better, basically. Because I think I saw a lot of our players wondering, about the engine change. I think what's important to say is that our objective as devs is to make the best games, right? So we'll make a decision, even though it may look hardcore for the players from outside. We'll make the decision that is the best for our games looking forward, So that's why, and I think it is a right way to go, right now. And we'll see, I think from years to come, looking back at this decision.
So just for us that don't know anything about developing games, right? Everything that you did on Red Engine 4, you can take this knowledge and take it to Unreal Engine 5, or will you lost a lot of stuff?
No. When it comes to knowledge, we absolutely can take everything, right? It's the same thing as it was with Red Engine 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? All the learnings are always something that will transfer. The question is always about the technical solutions. But the thing is that and I don't want to sound arrogant here because I'm a designer and a programmer, but I think the harder part is the design, not the technical part, actually, and of course, we need to make sure that absolutely everything is as polished as possible, on the release. We learn our lesson. So there's no questions asked here. But I think the learnings are more important. That being said, there are parts, and again, here I don't want to go more into detail, that you can actually port. It's not something that, you cannot use something absolutely at all. The question is always case by case, right? Because like those are different engines. They are built with different assumptions, technically how things are done. And based off those assumptions, you have features based and so on, right? If that assumption is different in another engine, now the question is, can you port some larger part or not? And if not, then what now? Or if you can, then what changes you have to do, right? So the answer with the knowledge is absolutely we can move knowledge. The answer with the technology itself is that it's very much case by case basis. And I cannot imagine a situation that it cannot move anything. That would be like wild case. It would mean that those engines are like, not even similar, and that's not true because they are.